Hey guys, I'm RNG Gamer. I play all my games randomly. I've freaking gone crazy. Actually, let me just show you how bad this has gotten. This is the stuff I've picked up since we did one of these videos last time. All of this. It's like 40 freaking things. That's too much. There's no way I can play all this. But let's talk about it anyway. First up, we have a game from Red Art Games, which I really like. They're based in France, I believe, and they're pretty reasonable and they ship stuff pretty quickly. This one took a while, but I think it's because it had some extras. Anyway, I believe this is a hand-painted or hand-drawn, like, side-scrolling action game, maybe a Metroidvania. Sword of the Vagrant. The art on this really reminded me a lot of Dragon's Crown? Dragon's Crown? Yeah, Dragon's Crown. On the PS3, and I think they re-released on the PS4, it looks very similar to that. Anyway, you can see the gameplay down below because I've started adding gameplay to these videos now to make it better for you guys. Battle your way through hordes of monsters on a journey to reunite your family in a fantasy 2D action RPG. It's an action RPG. Anyway, I mentioned it came with some extras. It came with like a keychain, which I don't even want. I'm just gonna throw it in the bucket O swag that I have in the closet over there. But it did come with a really cool art book that like has, you know, the various character models and things like that from the game, which is, I mean, that's sweet. I like art books, I like soundtracks. So if you're gonna include those as extras, those are the preferred extras I would wanna get. Here's one you guys recommended to me in the comments, and as soon as you did, I went and jumped on Amazon and bought it. It looks pretty awesome. It's a shoot 'em up. I had no idea. I feel like I know every shoot 'em up that comes out, but this one just slipped under the radar, and it's called The Night Witch. Looks pretty cool. I don't know much about it, but it's a deck builder or like a card game mixed with a shoot 'em up. I don't know how that's supposed to work, but whoever left that comment, I appreciate it because it looks like it's gonna, like, you know, be a fantastic game. And I snagged this off Amazon for, I think, it was about $30, but I used some like reward points and I think I got it for maybe 10 or so. I also want to take this as a moment to apologize for the hum you hear in the background. The freaking air conditioning is going full blast. And normally I turn that crap off when I record these videos. We almost broke the record for the hottest day in August today. We were like 1 degree short. It is over 100 degrees outside and like 92% humidity. I'm sweating. It is so hot in here. I'm doing everything I can just to keep it together. So excuse the hum, please, for the air conditioner. I wish there was something I could do about it, but I just can't. I would like die down here if I didn't have it on. Sorry about that. I don't know when this happened, but GameStop decided to start selling Xbox 360 and Wii U and PS3 games again. It blew my mind. I don't know why. This is one I missed out on back in the day. Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes. And I believe this also came out on the PS3. And I used my $5 Pro monthly coupon or whatever it is on it. But I think this is just like a Capcom hack and slash game. You guys can see the footage. I don't know what the footage looks like. I haven't seen it. But I remember wanting this on the PS3 and just like not picking it up when it initially came out and kind of regretting it. And I would have preferred to have the PS3 version, but honestly, I couldn't like find anything else to spend my coupon on at the end of July, and I had to like buy something. And this was the something. If you're enjoying the content thus far, and I really hope you are, consider subscribing. You'll get to see a lot more of me because I do a new video every week. Also, give me a like. That's the best way to help the channel. That really does one over on the YouTube algorithm, and I'd appreciate it. And leave a comment, of course. I answer like every single one of them, and I love hearing from you guys. Limited Run Games finally decided to send me something. I have so many outstanding orders. They just like don't come in. But this one finally did, and I've been looking forward to it. I wanted to get the collector's edition of this, but I eschewed doing that because I'm kind of like running out of room down here. And unless it's something I really, really, really want the collector's edition for, I'm just opting for the standard edition because I don't want to take up so much space. And it's the Contra Anniversary Collection. Contra the Arcade, Super Contra, which is also an arcade game, I believe, Contra North America, Contra Japan, Super C, Contra 3, which I don't own and have never played, and I'm looking forward to playing it. It is a Super Nintendo game. Operation C, which is the Game Boy Contra game. Contra Hardcore, which is on the Genesis, which I do have and have played, but never got very good at, and I want to like improve my skills this time around. It also has Super Pro Protector Alien Rebels, which I believe Super Probotector Alien Rebels is that Operation C on the Game Boy, but like in Europe? Or is it Super C in Europe? I can't remember. And the Probotector, which is, I know, the PAL version of Contra, because they had some like anti-violent stuff that replaced all the soldiers with robots, so Probotector. Anyway, I'm excited to play this. I'm not going to play every game on it. I've played my fair share of Contra in the day. I've beaten it. I can 1 credit clear it, or I used to be able to 1 credit clear it, so I don't need to dive into that. But I'm looking forward to playing the other games, and happy to have this one. And the other game in that batch from Limited Run Games is the sequel to a terrible RPG on the Super Nintendo, which I've never played, but everybody else has told me it's like no bueno, and it's Dragon View. And this is supposed to have like some really interesting, I guess it's like a Mode 7 outdoor free roaming exploration part mixed with like turn-based combat. I don't know, whatever. This is like a uncommon and hard to find Super Nintendo game that I think goes for about like $700 in the box. Grabbing it for $60 here from Limited Run Games, I was totally fine with that. Although this held up that freaking Contra order for like a year. Because like getting these Super Nintendo carts made is apparently like an impossible feat, even though like every bootlegger in the world can do it readily. Limited Run Games, it takes them just a little bit longer. And speaking of Limited Run Games, in my last pickups video, I mentioned getting the Castlevania Requiem Ultimate Super Mega Ultra Collector's Edition. But I was putting it on the shelf and I noticed something. Let me show you. Right there in the corner, under the plastic, the little edge of the tab folded back. And I wasn't happy about that because I paid like $170 for this or something. I wanted it to be perfect. It is a display piece. So I contacted Limited Run Game support. And after several weeks of waiting, they got back to me. And here is the solution they offered. One, I could get a 10% refund. So $17 back on my $170 collector's edition, which is now worth like $400 by the way. Of course not. Or they would send me a replacement box. So I opted for the replacement box. And here it freaking is. This is just like a like unfolded, unused collector's edition Castlevania Requiem box. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I have no idea. Does anybody out there want this? Does anybody want to trade for this? Because I don't want it. Like, I already have the other display piece. I just have this. I figure it's worth more than $17. If anybody has an idea of what to do with this or you want it, send me a message. My email's in the contact down below, or you can find me on social media or whatever. Let me know if you want to trade. Let's do some good. Let's get this to somebody that wants it and get me something I will actually use. Sticking with the Castlevania theme, I'm more excited about this than probably anything else in this entire pickup lot because I've never played this and it's a roguelite, and a lot of people have said this is like their favorite game of all time, and they did a DLC for it that's Castlevania themed. Now, I've never played it. It's Dead Cells Return to Castlevania. I'm really pumped about this. Like, so many people have told me such great things about Dead Cells, and since I bought it when it originally came out, it's like worked its way up the backlogs. There's a good chance I'll get to play it relatively soon. And like, since I got this one, it just replaces that one in the backlog. So the one I have over there on the PS4 that's just sitting on the shelf, it gets to just continue to be shelf candy. Or maybe I'll trade it to somebody if they want it. But excited to have this one. I'm happy to have it on the PS5. And I'm really looking forward to playing this one a lot. Oh, it's so freaking hot. Let's wipe off our face. Let's wipe off our face. And let's make sure we do it with the really expensive microfiber cloth that we use to like clean the lens on the camera. That'll be real good. Let's do that. Let's ruin this so whenever I like bump the lens and I need to clean it, I just can't because it has like my facial oil all over it. Wonderful. Good idea. Well, if any of you guys watched the video where I went to the Southeast Game Exchange, you will have seen me pay $700 to pick up Jack Bros on the Virtual Boy, which finished the set. I have a complete North American Virtual Boy set. Sort of thanks to you guys who peer pressured me into doing it. But there was one game that was only released in Japan that I really wanted to play. Innsmouth no Yakata, I believe, or it translates to Innsmouth Mansion, whatever. There's a company out there that did a homebrew reproduction of it with the translated version. Pretty sweet. Innsmouth Mansion. This is a horror, not really survival horror, but a horror dungeon crawler. Anyway, I'm looking forward to this, and I'm done with the Virtual Boy. I'll be doing a Virtual Boy collection video pretty soon, so be looking forward to that. But this will be in there, and this will finish off the set officially for me. That'll be it. And the company that manufactured that is called Ventrex 64. They make a lot of homebrews and reproductions and things like that. Here's one I picked up from Bucky, another Castlevania themed one, although this one doesn't have Castlevania in the title. It's an MSX game, and it's the precursor to the first Castlevania and Castlevania 2, and it's called Vampire Killer. And this is one of the must-haves on the MSX, guys. And it takes that idea of like the free roaming from Castlevania 2 and kind of sets it in the world of Castlevania 1. It's weird to say sets it. It is the original Castlevania. It just is. This is the first one. The ones we got on the Nintendo were like based off of this, not the other way around. So they took that idea and they simplified it for the Famicom and the NES Castlevania 1. Then they took that exploration concept and they expanded upon it for Castlevania 2. Maybe too much because that game's a little esoteric and hard to find your way around. But so is this one. I've played it a little bit before. It's tough, like to make progress, but I'm looking forward to diving into it and maybe trying to beat it. I'm definitely gonna have to use a walkthrough. It's like impossible. So this is an eldritch horror fishing game that I saw some streamers play and it looked really cool and I had to pick it up. It's Dredge on the PS5. And this is the Japanese version, but it has English on the disc. So that's really exciting and I'm thrilled about that and I'm really looking forward to playing this one. Although I did not watch a ton of it being streamed because I didn't want to spoil it for myself. This is one that came out a little while ago and it got okay reviews. I wanted to play it because it's kind of like a Souls-like game. However, the PS5 version, which they call the Enhanced Edition, became a little hard to find. So I ended up ordering it off PlayAsia and I had to get the PAL version, but that's fine. It plays the same. It's Mortal Shell. As I recall in this one, the way it works is it's like a Souls game, like I mentioned, but you have different armor or shells that give you different abilities that you use to block. Your armor is your shell and you activate it and then when an enemy hits you, it cracks or something like that. I don't know, whatever. It was like 20 something bucks. Here's another one on the PS4 that I've been looking for a long time and I always wanted the complete edition and it got hard to find. So once again, ordered off PlayAsia, got the PAL version. It's a side-scrolling horror game. It's Little Nightmares and this is the complete edition. And I've really kind of enjoyed every one of these like side-scrolling horror platformers that I've played. I always think about Limbo. I don't know if that's really horror as much as it's just like atmospheric, but I really enjoyed it. And I picked up Little Nightmares 2 not that long ago and I had to get the first one to go along with it. So glad to finally have this one to get it off the wish list. They may have announced this as coming out through Strictly Limited Games or something like that. I can't quite remember, but it's a shoot 'em up and it's called, I'm gonna have to read it off the front of the box, Trouble Witches Episode 1, Daughters of Amalgam? Amalgam. Okay, here it is. And if you think the front of the box is busy, holy crap, look at the back. It's like a fever dream. I can't even tell what's going on. Like on the viewfinder on the camera, it looks like a Jackson Pollock painting if it was done by Lisa Frank. For those of you who don't know who Jackson Pollock is or Lisa Frank, they're the two greatest artists of the 20th century. And here are some examples of their art right here. Anyway, this is a shoot 'em up, of course. I buy like every shoot 'em up that I know about that comes out. I just love the genre. This one looks really fun and whimsical, and I like shoot 'em ups. And I don't know what the deal is with a bunch of like shoot 'em ups having like witches in it, but that's a thing. Cotton, Death Smiles, Magical Chase, all witch-themed shoot 'em ups. So why not throw another one on there? Why don't we just have one more? Hey, guess what? Bucky sold me another flipping game. He had 2 copies of this, complete in box. I opted for the better one. He was happy to let go of it. I paid 150 bucks for it, and I've wanted this forever. And it's a Sega CD game in the Eleste series, and it is flipping RoboEleste. While it is like a mech shooter, it has like almost a samurai theme to it, which I think is really cool. Been wanting to play this for like, I don't know, 30 years since like it came out on the Sega CD. I remember seeing it for rent at Blockbuster and like I just never was able to rent it. It was always checked out. And by the time it was not popular enough to not be checked out, they didn't have it for rent anymore. So this will be my first time ever playing this and I am thrilled about it. Thanks, Bucky. I never find good deals on eBay. I mean, occasionally I found like okay deals, but never anything to write home about. Not anymore. A post for some Dreamcast games happened to pop up, and I made the guy an offer, and he just accepted it. So here's my janky old copy of Soul Calibur, but it's disc only. Anyway, I've been looking for an empty Soul Calibur case forever, and used to be able to pick them up for 10 bucks, and I was like, whatever, I can buy the whole game for 20. That doesn't seem fair. And now the game's like 40, and the empty case is like 30, whatever. So, been looking for a case for 10 years. Well, this lot popped up, and it had Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast, complete, in box, cool, 3D fighting game, spawned an entire franchise, and that'll replace this. So this is going to go up for trade or whatever, the loose disc of Soul Calibur. In that same lot, it had Shadow Man on the Dreamcast, which I know literally nothing about. I have never played this, I've never cared to play it, but it was in this deal, so here we go, we got it now. It also had this game, which I used to own loose, and I traded it to freaking Bucky at some point, Omicron, the Nomad Soul. And this is starring David Bowie, and I believe this game is made by Quantic Dream. It is made by Quantic Dream. I looked it up, it's on the back of the box. Quantic Dream are the people that did like Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human. This game is like 50-something dollars. This game's, I don't know, we'll say $20. And this game is like 30 bucks. That's like $100 worth of games. I offered the guy 65 bucks and he accepted it. Glad to be rid of a loose game. That's a good deal. That's a good deal on eBay. I paid 60% of market value. I've mentioned in other collections videos that as like the Xbox 360 and the PS3 were sort of like being phased out, I made a list of all the games that I thought were going to be like rare, collectible, and I went out of my way to pick them up while I could and while they were still cheap so that I wouldn't have to track them down later. And one of the games that I never saw and have never seen anywhere, and every time I like tried to have them look it up at GameStop, they're like, it's in the system, but there's none within 500 miles of us. Like, we were never able to find it. It was a PS3 game called Painkiller, Hell and Damnation. Was never able to find it, and it ended up being one of the rarest games on the PS3. And a complete copy of that game goes for like $400. THQ just did a reprint of it. And if you pay attention to my social media, I sent a shout out to let people know that it was up for sale for 60 bucks. And I grabbed a copy of it. And it's sealed. But here it is. Painkiller, Hell and Damnation, uncut. And the only difference between it and the other versions is it says THQ Nordic down here in the bottom right. I want to play it. I'm not going to leave it sealed. Well, I am until it gets selected for me to play. But this is a combination of the two first Painkiller games. I believe it's just called Painkiller and then Painkiller Battle Out of Hell. Is that right? Whatever the case. Happy to have this. Thrilled to have it. I wasn't going to pay 400 bucks for it, but I was happy to pay 60 for it. For sure. Funbox Media, the distributors and publishers of very many adult-only Switch games out of the UK, put out another adult-only shoot-'em-up. And like I said, I buy every shoot-'em-up that I know about, even the adult ones included. Now, they did the Waifu Unlimited 1 and 2 that I played and reviewed. One of them is on this channel, and I actually really enjoyed that game despite all the full frontal nudity. They put out another one, and I picked it up, and it came in. And it is called Shuttlecock H. I don't know if you're seeing gameplay footage or not right now. If I can put it up on YouTube, you're seeing it. If I can't put it up on YouTube, sorry. You'll just have to use your imagination. But I'll read what it says on the back. A naughty dodge-em-up bullet hell game where you need to evade enemies and projectiles while collecting hearts. Grab enough hearts to unlock increasingly spicy scenes. I've had fun with every game I've gotten from Funbox Media. I mean, I've said this before, like, they're relying on the cute naked girls thing to sell the games, but like, the games are good enough that I've played so far. I don't know about this one, but the other ones I've played have been good enough to stand up on their own. If they had just been like fantasy or like sci-fi based, I still would have had a blast with them. Speaking of adult nature, I have been on a bit of an original Xbox collector's kick. And I never really liked the original Xbox that much. Like I played it in college and I picked up games here and there, but for some reason, it's just been like calling out to me recently to collect for it, so I've been picking up a few games here and there. I looked up a list of all of the original Xbox exclusive games, and I wanted to make a list of the ones that I wanted to get. But while I was looking through that list, I realized there are a lot of Xbox exclusive games that are based on like boring crap that for some reason have scantily clad women on the cover art for no reason. There's a couple of fishing games. One's done by Atlas, one's done by Capcom. Has like girls in a bikini on the front fishing for like no reason. I saw this one and I love pinball games and I had to pick it up. But once again, we have a bunch of like scantily clad women on the cover for no freaking reason. And it's called Pure Pinball. I look at the back of the box and like the tables aren't scantily clad women themed. As far as I know, they just look like normal pinball tables. There's like one with a runaway train, hyperspace. Like, what's the deal? Like, why did Xbox decide to do this? Why are they putting like women in bikinis on like games for no reason? And it made me think about doing that. Like, it made me think of doing a video where I want to feature like bad games where they knew it was going to be bad, so they just put like naked women on the cover to try to sell it. Anyway, if you guys know of any games that are like that, we know of the two other fishing games on the Xbox and then this one, where a game is like terrible and they're just relying on like sex to sell the game. Put it in the comments down below. I'd love to do a video on that, and I could use your help like thinking of games that are like that. And I'm not talking about games where like they're relying on sexual content in the game. I mean just like there's no reason to have a girl in a bikini on the front or a guy that's half naked or something. Like, they just put it on the cover for the sales. But going along with more Xbox pickups, I picked this up at a local game store. Here we have Second Sight. This is made by the creators of Time Splitters, and this looks kind of like a spooky shooter, a paranormal shooter, it says on the back. I don't know anything about it. It was $9. I also grabbed this one, Siberia. I know this is an adventure game. I missed out on the Siberia collection on the PS3, but the same website that reprinted Painkiller also reprinted the Siberia collection, and it was sold out when I went to buy it. So I didn't get that one. But this is the first game in the series. And I know this is one of the worst games of all time. I saw the AVGN video about it like everybody else in the world, but I wanted to pick it up, and it is an Xbox exclusive, Drake of the 99 Dragons. And this one was also $8. So, pretty good deal. I think when all was said and done, they charged me $24 for all three of the games. They came out to $8 each. So I had a whole bunch of Amazon reward points that I needed to use up. I didn't really need to use them. I wanted to use them up. I wanted to buy a bunch of free games, okay? And I saw that a game that I got from Limited Run Games on the Switch, and like went out of my way to buy on their second chance sale. They just released a retail version on the PS5 that I wanted more. I'd rather play it on the PS5 than on the Switch. And that game is Fightin' Rage, which is supposed to be just an unbelievably good beat 'em up. Thrilled to play this one. Looks super good. Mark MSX from the Electric Underground says it's a fantastic beat 'em up, like one of the best of all time. I ended up, after using my reward points, it was $12. And these next three I got along with it, and they were all free. This one, I believe, is a boomer shooter. And it's called Proteus. I don't know much about this one, but I had it on my wish list, and like I said, I was gonna get it for free, so throw it on the pile. Same thing, another free one. This is the Chant. This looks like a horror game? I don't know. The art on the back of it looks unbelievable, and I have to say the cover art of this is very compelling to me. I was thrilled to see this. And I believe this one was a really kind of, it looks like a budget game, but it seemed to be a well-reviewed Metroidvania that a lot of people really liked, including, I believe, Emily from Orbology, After Image. Looks like a pretty decent game. I love the art style of this, and I love Metroidvanias. Who doesn't? I mean, they're a dime a dozen these days, but that's fine with me. I'm not gonna complain. Like, they're awesome. So all four of those was $12 total. Pretty good deal. I own both of these games on the Sega Genesis, but I've never played them, and M2 released it on a compilation on their M2 Shot Trigger series. Zero Wing and Hellfire, and it's the Zero Fire compilation. These are two critically acclaimed and beloved shmups, and happy to have them here because they have like training modes and alternate difficulties, and this has like the arcade and the Genesis and like the PC Engine and all the other versions of it, and including extra modes and stuff. So I'll be playing it here for sure, and I'll leave my Genesis copy sitting up on the shelf. But thrilled to have this one. I had to import it. There is no Western release of it thus far. So if you can still get this one, grab it. All the M2 Shot Triggers releases are fantastic. Must owns for any shoot 'em up fan. In my last pickups video, I picked up a bunch of games because GameStop was doing like a 4 games under $20 for $40. After doing that video, the sale was still going on. There was one more day on it, so I tried to pick up 4 more games. And these are like between $14 and $20. So they were 10 bucks a piece, basically. The first is Gaz Guzzlers Extreme. I didn't really want this, but I just wanted to find another game. So this is what we had. Neo, The World Ends With You. I did play The World Ends With You on the DS, and I could never get used to the combat with having to control the 2 characters on both screens at the same time. I know they re-released it on the Switch, and people said it was like worse and harder. I don't know. Let me know if you played it and you struggled with playing it on the DS, but you were able to play it on the Switch and have a good time. Let me know. I'd like to play it because the style of that game was really cool and compelling, and I loved the story, but I just sucked at the combat. This game looks terrible. I don't know anything about it, but like I said, I had to get something. Real Heroes Firefighters. I think this is just a firefighting simulation game. I don't know, whatever the case. We got it. And I know the manager, and she's a fan of the channel, so she let me get this game, and she just counted it as a $20 game. But it's the new Saints Row. It was 25 bucks, but she let me throw it in on this bundle. Thanks so much, I really appreciate it. I wasn't really gonna play this even though I loved the original Saints Row series on the Xbox 360 and played a lot of it, all of it, except for Gat Out of Hell, I believe. But you know, for 10 bucks, I can't complain about this. I'm gonna play it. I did a video on this channel called The Rarest PS4 Game You've Never Heard Of. And in it, I talked about a game called Pineview Drive. And as far as we can tell, that game was only released for sale in Canada in specific Walmarts. And like, there's no way to find it. I've never been able to find a copy of it, whatever the case. It eludes me. But it turns out that that game and 2 other games were put on a compilation disc and released in Europe called The Truth Is Out There. Now, I've already showed this in another pickups video. I picked this up like almost a year ago. But there it is, The Truth Is Out There on the PS4. Well, I just so happened to be out game hunting with a fan of the channel just a couple of weeks ago, and we went into an antique mall. Tucked away in a little nook, we found a shelf with some like cheap bargain PC games on it. The kind you see in like the Walmart section where it's full of like Bejeweled and hidden item games and things like that. And what did I find? Lo and behold, but the freaking Truth Is Out There on PC, and this version has those 3 games plus 4 more. We have Pineview Drive, Joe's Diner. That's the same. Now this one here on the PS4 has some game called Nightfall. This doesn't have Nightfall. Instead it has Dr. Watson, Riddle of the Catacombs, Dr. Watson, Treasure Island, Realms of Arcania, Blade of Destiny, Realms of Arcania, Star Trail, and Realms of Arcania, Shadows over Riva. I don't know anything about any of those games. But 7 games for $1? $1? What the crap? So I had to pick it up, but guess what? They had 4 more copies of it. So I picked up 5 copies of this for $5. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to keep one of them. And I'm going to give the others away, I guess. Maybe I'll save these and give them away at a convention. The next convention I'm at. Let me know what I should do with these. I think I want to give them away at a convention. I'll have like a code word, and if you see me at the convention, you can say the code word, and I'll give you a copy of this. Does that sound good? Something like that? That might be fun. Remind me of that before the next convention I go to. Also, while we were out and about, we walked into just a good old thrift store, and I found this for $2. It's Mortal Kombat 3 on Windows. I played my fair share of Mortal Kombat 3. I'm not going to play this. I'm just going to like stick it on the shelf, I guess. I assume it's the same or worse as any other version of Mortal Kombat 3, so Could you imagine playing Mortal Kombat on a keyboard, though? Like a crappy keyboard? Like a chiclet keyboard on a laptop or something? And you may have heard me mention in some other videos that my Intellivision is just broken. It doesn't work, and I have to trade a broken one to Bucky for a working one. Here's the working one from Bucky. I haven't tested it yet. I'm assuming it's working. It better be working. If not, it's all Bucky's fault. Put "it's all Bucky's fault" down in the comments. Do that in every video. It's all Bucky's fault. But now hopefully I have a way to play those like 50 Intellivision games I picked up at the Southeast Game Exchange. And this book belonged to my wife's brother, and the family just kind of donated it to me. I'm excited to have it, but it's the Super Mario Bros. Encyclopedia. And this is like the first 30 years. So I believe this was from like 2015 or so. Cool like coffee table book. I'll just put it on the shelf with the other stuff. Anyway, if you made it this far, guys, I really appreciate it. If you liked the content, subscribe, give me a like, leave a comment down below. Like I said, I answer every one of them. And if you really, really want to help out the channel, consider becoming a channel member. You can get your name at the end of the video like the people you see here on the screen. You can sponsor part of a video. You can pick a game from my backlog for me to play. But for only 99 cents, you get early access to all the videos that come out on this channel, as well as access to the member exclusive videos, which I have thus far put out every month and am going to try to continue to do at least one every month. And if it's too difficult to hit join down below and become a channel member, you can also find me on Patreon. And those of you that have supported me, I want to give you a special thanks. Every dollar goes right back into this channel, and I really appreciate it. So once again, guys, thanks for sticking around this whole time. It's been a while since I've done one of these pickups videos, and I'm so glad to be able to finally put all this stuff up on the shelf. And I'll catch you all next time.